Okay, welcome everyone to another Wednesday night with your host, Menachem Bernfeld. Thank you very much for coming. And tonight we're going to do a little bit of a review from the past 25 sessions, which Baruch Hashem, thank you very much for the feedback, for the questions that you sent in. And we'll see what we can cover tonight. I guess we won't be able to cover everything, but we will start from the beginning, see where we are. Okay, so if we can just come into the room, take a deep breath, and let's relax for a few minutes. Become aware of how our day was, where am I, how am I feeling? And then becoming aware of what do I feel inside? Do I actually feel relaxed? Or I wish I could feel relaxed. By the way, tonight, if you can please, I'm hoping it could be a little bit more interactive. If you can put your questions in the chat, so I'll be able to answer some questions. If anything comes up while I'm talking, you can put it in. I'll see if we can address it. And if courageous enough to ask live, just raise your hand and we'll unmute you. Okay, so I know there are many that are busy, whatever it is, men and women, with putting away Purim and opening up Pesach. And some haven't even started, but they're thinking about it. So that's where some stress can start, just by the thoughts. Becoming aware of those thoughts. So many times we want to learn more, find out more education. And that is something that could be an escape. Because to just stay with where I am and the information that I have till now, it feels uncomfortable. I'm still don't feel good in my own skin. So let me go learn more. And even though from the outside it looks like a positive thing, but it could be an escape. And which I mentioned many times, find time to stop everything you're doing. You can spend a few minutes with yourself and try to relax, do some breathing. And that's when you become aware of where you are, how you're feeling. But just to want to learn more, sometimes could be an escape. So tonight, we're not going to learn too much more. I'm not going to feed too much of information because most of it, I think we have enough information. Now, what are you going to do with the information? What are you going to do with it? So many times it's not that you have to learn more. It's not that you have to learn more information. It's what we need to unlearn. We have enough, or we picked up information about ourselves, beliefs about ourselves that we need to unlearn. But learning more information is not going to help you. It's not going to put you in a more positive state. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Let's stop. Enough of information. How does it feel? So we're going to do a little bit of a review, starting off the fundamentals to gain inner peace. So we discussed what is it? What's inner peace? So if I would ask you, and please share in the chat, it could be one word or two words. What comes up? What picture comes up when you think that you're in a peaceful state? How do you feel? What's that word? Imagine yourself, or what is it that you're looking for? That you're hoping maybe one day I'll be there. I wish I could be there. Where is it that you want to be? Very good. to be comfortable with yourself. That's it. To feel relaxed, to feel happy. Feel happy is already the next stage. Like we discussed, you could only feel happy if you let yourself feel. Feel content. If you think about the word content, it's just where I am now. I want to be I just want to be. I want to be okay with myself. But I don't have it yet. Where can I find it? We're searching and searching, but the answers are really, it's right where you are. But the problem is that you get aware of negative emotions, which we've discussed. Very good. Thank you for sharing. To have a feeling of, I'm just enough. I don't need to do more. Or some people wish they can be in a place where they would not have any negative voices. You don't want to have those negative voices. So, very important. If you're trying to push away the negative voice, what happens is that's anxiety. Because I have to get it out. I wish I can get it out. Why is it coming up again? Let me think positive. Let me think positive. You see, all of that is stress. It's like subtle stress inside of you. How about we can invite those voices in? Don't push it away. The more we want to push it away, the bigger it gets, the louder it gets. A very good example comes up for many people is when they start Shmoneh Esrei. They want to daven and have kavanah. So they stop and they start concentrating. You know what happens when you start concentrating? Exactly. You become aware of everything that's going on, and those negative voices come up also. So some people think, you know what? Why am I trying to concentrate? I can't take this. You know what? Better if I don't concentrate. But let's do it differently. When the voices come up, when the negative voices come, it's what we discussed, observe. And it's probably not a new one. When you hear it, smile and say, hi, here you are again. That's it. And you could tell the voice, please, be my guest. Have a seat next to me. Sit right over here while I daven. It's okay. You could sit right over here. How does that feel? You don't have to push it away. You can let it in. So that's what becoming aware of those voices. So what we're looking for is to, people want to get rid of, people want to change. Even wanting to change for some people is stress, because that means I am not in a good place. I don't like where I am now. So what could I do? So we're trying to run. And that's why we run and we keep ourselves busy. We live in a fast-paced world, like a rat race, and we go. Because when we stop, we're not comfortable with who we are and the state we're in. So might as well just continue running. We discussed the levels in the brain, these 4 stages, and what we're looking for is the alpha state, because most of the time we're in a fight and flight mode. Either we keep ourselves busy so that we don't have to stop and think, or flight. We're not really where we are, we're not present, because I'm too uncomfortable with where I am and I want to change. And it sounds positive, I want to grow. But if you really want to change and grow, we need to first become aware of where you are now. And become aware of the positives and the negatives. And then the concept of seeing some positive in yourself. That's the only way you'll be able to continue to be able to see positives. And start with positive affirmation, which we discussed. So a question that came in, about positive affirmation, just by telling myself I am enough, I'm good. And like you can listen to recordings that we did. You relax, you can listen to some music and listen to those words and tell it to yourself. Does that really help? So it's a good question, and it's a new concept for many people. But the idea is that you have a tape recorder in your head already, just the same way, saying over and over things about yourself. And many times it's negative. So that's why it is important to find some time to relax, to become aware of those voices. But that affirmation is happening, and it's happening anyways. In many of our minds, it goes over and over, tells us, don't go there, don't do that, it's not for you, do this, this is what you do every day, continue doing it, you're not going to succeed, don't do it, push it off. All of those voices. So we need to counteract and say, you're okay, it's fine, what you're doing is good. And depending on your age or when you start picking up, you could be 20, 30, 40 years with the negative voices. So it does take time till you start hearing positive voices. I want to share a technique that I don't think we mentioned in the past. Is before you go to sleep, to picture yourself in a positive state and see yourself in a relaxed state, like things are working out, and with the positive affirmation, just right before you go to sleep, so that you fall asleep in a positive state. Why is that so important? Because at night is when our subconscious is really at work. By day, we run away and we're trying not to tap into the subconscious. We're very busy, consciously busy. At night, when our conscious goes to sleep, that's when the subconscious, the ideas that we picked up, gets ingrained in our subconscious. So a few minutes before you go to sleep, you want to be able to find yourself, see yourself, visualize yourself as things are working out, find the positives in your day, thank Hashem for all the positivity, and you go to sleep in a positive state, then the subconscious gets used to the positive. And after a while, you see change, you feel the change. Okay, let's continue. So what's the reason why is it so hard for many to stop that rat race? To just continue with routine and not try different things, different ideas. That's because the negative comes up. Okay, but we need to learn to sit in the space, like we mentioned. Like Viktor Frankl mentions, between stimulus and response, there is a space. So our whole life, when we're conscious, there's stimuli all over the place. Cars, people, at work, family, things we need to do, emails, those are stimuli, things that come in and they like press buttons. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do that. And sometimes we're not even aware. Somebody walks in and we get uncomfortable. That's a response. What we need to do is spread out the stimulus and response, the space in between. Don't react right away. Things come up. You do become aware of the reaction right away, but don't do anything. Let that feeling, sit with that feeling. Just feel. Keep on breathing in and out. Observe what's going on in your mind. Observe what's going on in your body, how you feel. You don't have to change. We're not here to change anything. If negative comes up, be aware of that. And just be there. For many, it's hard. And like someone sent in a question, it's terrifying to just sit with my negative thoughts, with the negative ideas. And for many, it is hard. And that's why I would say just start with 5 seconds. Just becoming aware before you do that action. Take a deep breath and say, I feel uncomfortable now. And then you can go on. That awareness, that's a beginning. becoming aware. And eventually you make it for 10 seconds, 20 till a minute. You don't respond to everything. And then you could consciously respond the way you want, but not just responding. It's being proactive and not responding the whole time to reactive to everything that comes up. Many people say, when will I ever find myself in the end? When will I see the light at the end of the tunnel? Going through very hard times. Sometimes it's really tough, real challenges. What I'm looking for is the light at the end of the tunnel. That can be very stressful to think that way, because that means where you are now is so dark. I need the lights and I can't see it. But what I want to tell you is that there is light around you. There is. But you have to let yourself feel it and see it. There is light where you are right now. And even if you stop where you are, no matter what's going on around you, you can eventually find some light. But it's only if you can stop. Many people, it's hard for them to stop because of the negative emotions that come up. So we need to be able to learn what a negative emotion is, how to let it ride like the waves, let it in and out, so that we can find some light where we are. We don't have to run away. I'm okay with myself where I am now. Yes, there are some negatives, but there are positives. And like we mentioned, the waves, another question that came in, why even tap into the negativity? Why look at those emotions? Why feel them? So you think that if you don't feel them, then they're not around. It's much easier for you. But deep down, subconsciously, it's what controls your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. And many times I say a line which is hard for people to hear, but basically your life, the way it looks now, is really what you believe it should look like. And it's hard to believe that because it's not my fault. There's so many things around me. I don't believe I should be where I am. I want to change. I'm not happy with my situation. So why are you telling me I believe it should? So it's really subconscious. Yeah, consciously you want to change for sure. But subconscious, you believe you can't. It's not for you. You tried many times. So the deep subconscious feeling and belief is, this is it. Where you are now, the way your life looks now is really the way it should. Because if you could change it, you would maybe believe that you could change it, but you don't. So it's a deep emotion. It is very deep, subconscious, but to just become aware of what's going on in my life and eventually see what are my beliefs? Why am I stuck where I am? Why am I pushing off certain things? What am I scared of? Another great idea that came up was that emotions don't last. They say it lasts from 60 to 90 seconds if you let it come up. And the only way you can let it go is by letting it come, like the waves. It comes and goes, but you have to let it come up and let it go. If you let it come up, very uncomfortable. You don't like the way it feels. You don't like where you are. Might as well go continue what you're doing. Get back on your phone. But if you can let it ride the wave between 60 and 90 seconds, but usually we stop before that. We run already by 10, 20 seconds, 30. It's very hard to wait 60 to 90 seconds. But if we become aware of that, slowly we can learn to just let it come, let it go. Because we do want to let it go, because if not, it becomes suppressed in the body. And we think that I don't think about it. I'm good, I'm continuing, I'm fine, I'm functioning. But after a while, it comes out. Physically, emotionally, it comes out. And then you wonder, why do I feel so depleted at the end of the day? If I'm functioning, I'm doing what I need to do, why do I feel this something lacking, some negativity? So this is a little bit I guess it takes more than 20 minutes to go over 25 sessions, but I just want to mention one or two questions that came in, and you can send me questions in the chat. We'll see if we get to answer them. So we discussed why affirmations help, even though it might sound funny. People asked about the concept of the inner child that we did the past few weeks. The concept of the inner child is very abstract to me. So that's a good awareness. So we had both feedback when we did the exercises, the guided imagery to meet our inner child. Some met the inner child positive, some negative, and some don't feel anything. They don't know what you're looking for, and you have a hard time visualizing, which is okay. And it could sound abstract because what is that inner child? But really what we're looking for is that voice inside of you. Something is bothering, it's talking, it's saying something. We want to become aware of that. Now, it might be hard for you to see it as a small kid, but if you sit for a few minutes with yourself, you become aware of those voices. And a good idea is to journal. Another question that came in, why bring up childhood? The trauma, the stories that came up when we were young. Why not just let it go? So yeah, why not just let it go? It's like we mentioned, if you're not aware of it, usually you think you let go. But if you're not aware of it, it's not really you let go, it's inside of you. It's in there. I'll give you an example. So like we mentioned, if you were the oldest in the family and you had the responsibility of doing things, or your parents, whatever style they used, and you felt that that's what you need to do, and your childhood really stopped when you were 6 or 7 because you had all the responsibilities. So now all of those feelings can come up. Let's say you were in the middle of a family. You had an older sister, older brother, telling you what to do because they're older, telling you what to wear, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. When you're young, you're not aware of, wait a second, I can make my own choices. I don't have to listen. So you listen to them, and eventually your individuality, what you feel about yourself, shuts down. And your whole life you can be running with that, whether it's pleasing other people, making sure other people are okay with what you wear and what you do. We need others to you have to make sure everybody's okay with who you are. But that's a belief that we picked up when we were young. So you're saying, just let it go. Why talk about it? Why think about it? The answer is we're talking about it so we can let it go. We become aware of it, how it controls our beliefs, our relationships, of where we are, how we feel about ourselves. And that's the way we can let it go. So it does take time. You're talking about many years. And we want to get rid of it now. It's not comfortable. So let's take 2 minutes just to breathe and relax and let these ideas sink in. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Before we finish tonight, I do want to mention that we came up with a few good techniques that help to be able to sit with whatever you feel. One of them was the deep breathing. Just breathe in and out, take a deep breath. And another one, see how many you can do. After a while, you feel a little bit lightheaded. You don't have to do too many, but deep breath, you feel relaxed. Take another one. We usually give ourselves maybe 1 or 2, but then we stop. Do some deep breathing. We did the havening technique, which is just having that touch on ourselves, which helps. And all of these techniques, if you keep it in the logic, just saying, wow, it's amazing, it sounds very good, it's good, you know about it. But if you don't do it, you're not going to feel the difference. The positive affirmation, by listening to it over and over, a few minutes every day. Self-love affirmation we did. And for many, it was hard for the first time because they don't believe that they deserve. But it's important to know that if you can't take it in for yourself, if you can't feel that positivity, the self-love for yourself, it's hard to give it to others. And that's why it's hard. We see some awkwardness. Sometimes it's hard, relationships, wherever you go, because we need to go to a healthier place. And like they say, hurt people hurt other people usually because they feel hurt, and it's hard. So what we're looking for is to break that cycle of continuing what we picked up, to give over and stop that. Start feeling okay with myself, feeling okay with where I am, even though negative things come up, but there are a lot of positives. Becoming aware of the positive, journaling, we discussed. So whichever technique you're starting to use, but find one or two things that work and start doing them, because that's the only way you'll actually start feeling it. Because logic, we have enough. Information, we have enough. So that's it for tonight. And Amit Shem, next week we'll continue and find what works. You can go back to the recordings. We have the whatever technique we use, the havening technique, the deep breathing we did, and start doing them. Another very important thing before we go is I don't feel results. I don't see results. That's a thought to be aware of, because that's another stress that comes up. Don't look for any results. Interesting. What do you mean don't look for any results? Stop looking for results. The results are right here where you're sitting. Take a deep breath. And enough with more information. I am good with where I am. Even if negative things come up, I am fine. And I don't need to see change. It's okay. I am fine. No, I'm not. I need to see change. You're okay. Say it over and over like a good friend. So thank you very much. That's it for tonight. Next week, Wednesday night, we'll continue. And if you want any feedback, you can send to Coach Menachem at gmail.com. Any ideas that came up, any questions, and we can address it next week. Thank you, and have a good night and a good week.